Assalamu alaikum. Get to know your Lord. First part of the Right Belief series by Sheikh Karim Abu Zaid. This dynamic literary work of art's main goal is to revive an understanding the names and attributes of Allah. And understanding the name and attributes of Allah will elevate our faith, strengthen us, and keep us steadfast. This wonderful book is now available in an audiobook format and can be found free of charge on YouTube, channel Karim Abu Zaid. Get to know your Lord. You have nothing to lose.
You will make it through. The fitra is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah by your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. You will make it through. The fitra is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through.
Okay. Everybody can see this. Okay, so here's the class for today. And again, we're covering pages 274 to 281. And in this section, Sheikh Karim speaks about the importance of empowering the next generation. And of course, how do we empower them? We empower them by nourishing their fitra. By nourishing their fitra. And how do we nourish the fitra? By teaching them the principles of Islam, teaching them what it means to believe in Allah, what it means to worship Him alone, and teaching them what it means to have allegiance to Allah, allegiance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, allegiance to the believers, no matter who they are, and the allegiance to this religion, and what it means to disassociate. That's how we empower them. So let's look to see what Sheikh Karim has to say here. As we've established yesterday, Allah made it clear what the role of the parents are. That the parents, it's the parents' responsibility to nurture and educate their children of his religion. And oftentimes, the parent might become very protective of the child. They want to create a protective cocoon around the children. And that's what I see today as a dawah. I see a lot of the women trying to be overly protective. And what happens is some of us become too protective to the point whereas instead of us teaching our children that we are unique, that we are different from the non-believers, instead you're teaching the children to conform and become like them, to blend in and be like them. And this is wrong. My mother never taught me that. She always let me know that I was different. You're supposed to be different, and you're better than they are. There's no non-Muslim on this planet that's better than you. My mother put that in me, and that's the reality. And she let me know why. She said the reason why no non-Muslim could ever be better than you is the fact that they don't believe in Allah. You do. So you excel above them. You never allow them to have the upper hand over you. And that's what I'm telling all my Muslim kids here, my Sunnah-follower kids. Like I tell Sabrina, like I tell Tahira, I tell Yusuf and Shuaib. You be the best in school. Don't let no non-Muslim child be more smarter than you. You be the best in your class. You excel above them intellectually. You excel above them spiritually. You excel above them in your actions, your mannerisms, the way you dress, the way you speak. That's why I get on you adult women here. You sisters are going to have to learn how to express yourselves. You're going to have to overcome this fear of speaking publicly. You have to know how to express yourself. So this is what happens a lot. We become protective. Many of us in that way, and then a lot of us become protective in another way by trying to censor what our children are aware of. You know, you come upon parents who think that, oh, don't talk about the S word. Don't mention sex around the children. What do you mean don't mention it? Do you not know that your children probably know more about sex than you do? Because that's all the kids talk about in the playground. That's all they talk about in the schools. That's all they talk about on TV. It's sex. So there's certain things that we have to not do as Muslim parents. You don't want to be overly protective to the point whereas you make your kids blend in and become invisible, whereas they lose their Muslim identity. And you do not want your children to become ignorant of the world around them either. When parents opt to withhold awareness of society's darker aspects from their kids, this is when your children end up falling victim. Look at what happened to the Amish kids. I tell you guys, they did the U.S. Census report from 2023. It stated they did a census of which religions in America had the highest apostasy rates around amongst children. Of course, the Mormons and Amish were number one. They had the highest apostasy rate, the Mormons, because they shelter their kids. They shelter them away from television and radio and all of this. And they allow the kids to go out and have their one day, the Amish do, their one day roost, whatever they call it. And that's when the kids experience everything and they don't want to go back to their lifestyle. Or the Mormons allow their kids to go on what they call do ministry. And they go out and do ministry and they become exposed to other stuff. You know, as Muslims, we don't want to be that way. You know, you don't want to shield your children from the world like that. So as when they reach puberty, they end up succumbing to their environment. So don't withhold awareness of the darker side of society. Your children should know about sex. By the way, if you got your kids in Kafir school, non-Muslim school, I was a substitute teacher. And I grew up in America. I learned sex education in the 5th grade. That's a class. We learned sex education when we were 10 years old in the 5th grade. Okay? And not only do they teach sex education and when they're in the 5th grade, but they also give out condoms. Your child could be having sex and you not even know about it. And all they got to do is get the condom from the school. So what are you withholding? Don't do that to your children, Muslims. And let's look at the example that Sheikh Kareem came up with here. He said, consider a scenario where a teenager named Zayn, his parents diligently shield him from the news related to society's issues. They shield him from violence. They shield him from the moral dilemmas of society. And they believe that they're protecting his innocence. However, this well-intended isolation, it makes Zane not equipped to comprehend the complexities of the world he lives in. You see that with the Amish kids. They've even made programs, TV shows about Amish kids taken from out of the Amish land and to New York City. And y'all see what happened to them adults. They end up sex, drugs, and everything else. Prostitutes and everything else. So you don't want to do that. Because when those kids face the real world, they're gonna be faced with those issues, and they're not gonna know how to deal with them. They'll end up doing like the Amish kids, succumbing to it. Where I used to live in Southern Ohio, that was Amish land. I lived in the foothills of Kentucky. A lot of Amish. And boy, those kids were messed up because they had left their Amish land and got hooked on meth. Big meth problem and cocaine problem in Southern Ohio. Those Amish kids were messed up, drugged out. The parents would take them off the Amish land and throw them in the street. They was living on the street, addicted to drugs and stuff. This is what happens when you shield the children from the society's darker secrets. So don't do that to your Muslim kids. Instead, sit down and talk to them about it. Like my mother did me. She let me know about sex when I was 10 years old. She had no choice. I had my menses when I was 9. Oh yeah, Arab. You know I'm a desert girl. What can I say? I had my menses when I was 9 years old. That's when my mother sat me down and told me everything from A to Z. Made me sick. You know, I have anxiety, had it then too, and I'm OCD. When parents choose to overlook the existence of the problems here, they inadvertently create a void in their children's understanding. Okay, so talk to your kids about sex. Talk to your daughters about menses. Talk to your children about drugs, about alcohol. Talk to your children about rape. Oh yeah, that's a big problem, especially down there in Texas. Talk to your children about molestation. Texas, you know, the redneck state, you know. Let your kids know about these dark parts of society. So that way when they are confronted with these things, you know, they can reach out to you for help. Okay, and here's another example that Sheikh Kareem gave here. He said, visualize a family where sensitive topics like a drug addiction and abuse or cyberbullying remains untouched. The absence of open talks enables external influences from their peers, from online sources, or school sources. Because like I tell you, even in the Muslim schools, that's a big problem here in America. You know, even the Muslim schools ain't safe. I hate to say it. It's all on YouTube. People coming out from Texas. Oh, yeah. Child molestation in the Muslim schools. Okay? Talk about this stuff with your children when they're young. Let them know when they're 6 years old that nobody touches you. I don't care if it's the imam of the mosque. If anyone touches you on your body, you say no and you run and you seek help. Let the children know that while they're young, guys. Don't ever be afraid to tell me as a parent. Does everybody understand that? So, you know, open dialogue with the children is very important while they're young in those formative years. Because if you sidestep those conversations, we'll end up with problems like the parents are facing with in Texas. from these Muslim schools down there, you know, and like many of us are facing with our children and our grandkids with the drugs and all of that stuff. So it's all about promoting critical thinking with your children. Why do y'all think I am so hard on you when it comes to my quizzes? I want you sisters to learn how to express yourselves. Like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had told the companions, there's a difference between knowledge and understanding. Knowledge is simple memorization. Anybody can memorize. Understanding is when you take what you've memorized, apply it to your heart, and it'll come through the limbs. And he told one of the companions, you'll be able to express yourself. If you can't explain your answer, then that means you don't understand. So that's why I am so into pushing you sisters to express yourselves when y'all answer these questions. So you in turn can teach your children to express themselves. To not be afraid to speak out. To not be afraid to be eloquent. And letting people know about things. Because by nurturing this critical thinking, this will enable the children to embrace the righteous path. This will enable them to be able to disassociate without fear from that which Allah commands us to disassociate from. Does everybody get it? So that's why as a teacher, I'm pushing y'all to be more expressive. Get over this fear that you women have to talk. The Prophet's wives didn't fear speaking. Arab women were always good speakers. Always good. In fact, you can't shut us up. That's the problem. Arab women just don't shut up. Especially we Egyptian women. Ain't that right, my Egyptian sisters? We'll talk all day and night. Okay? So the rest of you got to come out of that shell and express yourself. Okay, and here Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid gives another example. He uses the parable of enjoining good and forbidding evil. He in society, he compares it to a ship. And he uses this hadith by Nu'man ibn Bashir. He said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the parable of those who respect the limits of Allah and those who violate them is like that of people who board a ship after casting lots. Some of them take the upper deck. Others take the lower deck. When the people in the lower deck want water, they have to walk past the upper deck. And they say, if we tear a hole in the bottom of the ship, then we will not harm you. And if those in the upper deck let them do what they want, then they would all be destroyed. Subhanallah. This is a wonderful a parable. So this ship shows us the dynamics of societal well-being and the role that we play as individuals in it. Okay, we have to speak out. Speak out against that which is evil. El-Bara, disassociate from anything that stands between you and your relationship with Allah, your relationship with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and your relationship with this religion and each other. And enjoying what brings us close to Allah, what brings us close to this Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what brings us close to each other in this religion. Ain't no time to be afraid to speak. Okay, so I like this this scenario that he used, because this scenario resonates with the idea that when parents neglect to address the existence of the evil of society with their children, they are inadvertently creating a void in their children's understanding of the lot of life And you don't want to do that. Okay? And also this hadith emphasizes the importance of those with greater awareness and responsibility over those who lack. And that's why I tell you, sisters, go to school to get a college degree, not because you want to go out and be a man and work, because Allah didn't create us women to work. Take it from me. I just retired. Why is my anxiety so bad? Because for the past 36 years, I had to spend my life, 16 hours of my life being a man. I had to go out and work, and I had to make my voice strong and intimidating as Allah commands. And not only my voice, but I had to make my demeanor strong and intimidating too. 36 years of being strong and intimidating to make the non-Muslims leave me alone and not get tempted to bother me. And now that I'm retired, I'm a nervous wreck. My anxiety is off the charts. I can't even go to the mosque by myself because I have social anxiety, because I'm in that habit of having to put up a tough exterior, when in reality, I'm just a little girl. I'm a little girl who still sucks her thumb. Oh yeah, still suck her thumb at the age of 63. That's what work can do to you, sisters. Having to be a man. Okay? So, this hadith emphasizes the importance, of having awareness of what's going on in the world without transgressing your role, the role that Allah created you to do in this world. Do you sisters get it? And also this hadith provides guidance and education to us as to how to prevent the spread of detrimental things that can destroy us and stand between our fitra and the fitra of our children, by letting the kids become aware of the dangers of the world. They know what to stay away from. And if they're confronted with those dangers, they know how to handle them. So don't be that overprotective parent. Okay? All right, I'm going to stop right here at this part of the chapter. Let me see. Yeah, I think I did. I stopped the PowerPoint there because Sheikh Kareem goes into more detail, which I want to cover tomorrow with you guys. He goes over some things that we can do as parents to help better our awareness of issues within society that we need to make our kids aware of. So I'm going to stop right here.